Hey everyone, this is Nick from GamersNexus.net, and I'm here to talk about Evolve, which is the first-person kind of role-based shooter slash action MOBA game, asymmetrical multiplayer, coming out from Turtle Rock Studios, the developers of the Left 4 Dead series. So Evolve is actually about 2 months away from release, and they actually hosted an event last week in San Francisco where I got to get my hands on the single-player experience of the game. And actually, it was my first time with the game, so I got to learn some more about it. We'll talk a little bit about what the game's about, and we'll also uncover some of the news that came out of that event right there, including some notes about the single-player, some notes about Wraith, which is the third monster, and at the end, we'll talk a bit about the beta opportunity that's coming up next month. Evolve is an asymmetrical game, meaning one team consists of 4 while the other is 1. So the 4 consist of 4 different roles, and they're hunters, super powered up humans that are out to go hunt a monster. And so you'll have your medic, you'll have your support, you'll have your assault, and you'll have your... what's the other class? Oh gosh, we'll just give you a screenshot right there. There we go. That's one of the given teams that we're looking at there. So they're coming up against a monster, and a monster is this beast that resides on a planet in the far reaches of space. There are a few different modes that the game is comprised of. So there's a hunt mode, which is pretty straightforward. The humans have to kill the monster has to kill the humans, or the hunters. There's rescue, where the hunters have to protect survivors that the monster's trying to hunt down and kill. There's a nest mode, or where the monster has these eggs it has to protect, and the hunters go out and try to attack those. So it's kind of like the opposite of rescue. And then all the modes come together in what's called Evacuation. And Evacuation is actually offered as a single-player opportunity. It can be offline and with local multiplayer opportunity or cooperative play right there. There's a lot that can be done with the game there. There are over 12 hunters, each of which has, they're one of 4 classes, right? And there are distinctions in the gear, the loadouts, essentially, for each character under that class. For the monsters, we have a Goliath, which is a straight, pretty much brawling giant. We have a Kraken, and then most recently announced was the Wraith. We'll talk a little bit about the Wraith here. So the Wraith is the assassin monster, meaning it travels at a speed that's faster than the other monsters, can go in for kind of sneak attacks. It has lower health. Like the other monsters, the Wraith has to gain armor. The way that the Wraith gains armor is by feeding on the wildlife. So we're going to go through some videos here of the Wraith in action. We'll take a look at some of her abilities. And with gaining armor, you can level up, you can evolve, and therefore your abilities can increase. You can choose to increase your armor regeneration or your attack damage, cooldown reduction, things like that. Rage mode, which is a supernova attack, very useful for taking out a group of enemies or enemies that are very close to each other. Again, she doesn't do a whole lot of damage in her regular attacks, so it's useful to use Supernova when you have multiple enemies. Okay, now let's take a look at the abduction ability. This is pretty fun. So this is a good way to isolate an enemy. You press the button for abduction. She comes in, grabs that enemy, pulls it back to her initial positioning when you press the button to engage that ability, and then that way she isolates that enemy and can attack it, wear it down from there. This is really good for something like a medic where, that you want to take out a medic, so then that way he or she can't heal the party if she's dead. Now, when it comes to the hunters, it doesn't really play out entirely like a first-person shooter. The roles are very defined in that you're going to have to balance your different abilities. You're going to have to use them multiple times in each battle, and although there are cooldowns and whatnot, there's always a way that you can do something actively to either pursue and detect, or engage the enemy, distract the enemy, help other players. So all hunters are equipped with the cloaking ability, the team cloaking ability, and the ability to go up to wounded players and heal them. So everybody's got that, whether you're assault, support, whatever. Everybody also has a jetpack, so that's really fun. Somebody who likes kind of the arena shooter, it's really fun that way. But yeah, you don't really end up shooting a gun too often, and if you do, it's actually doing more than just damaging the enemy. It's doing something else. It's powering up another player if you're support. You can do things like, if you're support, you can deploy a decoy, deploy a bot that will go out and try to detect the enemy. Evacuation is the amalgamation of all the multiplayer modes, so it takes place over, I think, 5 days, and it kind of has a series of connected events based on what happens during your playthrough. There are bonuses at the end of each round to the winning side. The way that Evacuation starts is there's always a hunt at the beginning. So the hunt, again, is kill the monster or kill all the hunters if you're the monster, and then from there you choose what the next mode is. So it could be nest, it could be rescue, it could be another hunt. And then the last one is a mode where the monster is trying to destroy these power generators, and it can employ the help of these minions that hatch from eggs. So yeah, there's a lot of variety in Evacuation. You don't always play on the same maps, you're not always playing the same mode, so pretty much every time you play it, it's going to be different. You can enjoy it as a single player experience. You can enjoy it offline. Let's say your network's down. You can actually enjoy it locally too. So that's really fun to see a couch co-op experience come to this game. One thing that I found, especially playing as the Wraith, because again, it's an assassin class, it's kind of more specialized than, and less straightforward than a brawling Goliath, is that, yeah, the AI is definitely difficult. I got my butt handed to me every time I was playing on Evacuation, but if you take the time to learn, how much cooldown time is needed, balancing and micromanaging the game's many complex facets like armor and feeding, how often should you be getting away from the enemy, when should you be attacking? I mean, it's a lot more complex than I expected initially, but it's going to be more fun and rewarding as a result of that, especially as you get to evolve the beast and you get to, power up mid-game, and then as a result of your successes, you can unlock more hunters and you can unlock more monsters, especially as they're released later in the game. Right now, for the launch, Evolve will only have 3 of the playable monsters. I'll also talk a little bit about the open beta. So next month, Turtle Rock will have an open beta from January 15th through the 19th on Xbox Live for Xbox One users with Xbox Gold subscriptions. So starting the 15th, I believe people can play Hunt multiplayer once you actually download it, but it is an open beta for all Gold users, so you can access it if you're online between those days. However, PS4 and PC users aren't left in the dust completely. So for PC and PS4, if you were invited to the open alpha back in October, then you will be invited to a limited test. You can also join the test on PC if you have in your Steam library a copy of either Left 4 Dead or BioShock Infinite. PlayStation 4 users have to be PlayStation Plus subscribers. All right, so we'll obviously have to check out the beta and see how Evacuation plays out online, test that out, see how the servers are running, see how the game runs with frames per second. I was playing on PC here at the event, and it ran very smoothly. There were only like 1 or 2 small stutters that I noticed, but otherwise it was a 60 frames per second experience, and so that went really well. Gameplay, it's going to take playing through the different hunters and the different modes multiple times, I think, to really understand how balanced this game is. With Evacuation mode, you can flip between the different hunters. So if you press down on the D-pad, you can switch from support to medic, so on and so forth. So that's really entertaining as well, especially if you just want to, you're playing through the beta and you're playing Evacuation, you're just like, hey, I want to see what each of these classes can do. I only have so much time. It is fun. It's something that we haven't seen in kind of an arena environment on a first-person scale in a while. So, I mean, you do have Team Fortress, but the structure of that's a little bit different. It's symmetrical, and you can have, multiple people of the same class. So, anyway, we'll have more coverage on Evolve next month. Be sure to type a comment below if you have any questions about the game or want us to reach out to Turtle Rock Studios. Stay tuned for more coverage of Evolve here on Gamers Nexus. Thanks again, everybody.